the circular economy is nobody's willing to really do it. So one of the things that I love that you're working on, and it sounds like we're doing it on a national basis, is trying to figure out how do we define what it is so we're all at least charging towards the same goal. And then on the flip side too, concept of challenging the status quo, and I like that quote, how do we become more good instead of just less bad? It's really important because we tend to always just try to figure out how can I have a little bit less of an impact besides really thinking outside of the box and trying something new. So kudos to you and the team for doing what you're doing. Next up we have Randy. Randy is ABC Recycling's Vice President of Sales and Marketing. He leads ABC's partnership with local communities, indigenous groups, government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and private businesses with the goal of educating and increasing awareness on the impacts of scrap metal recycling to the circular economy. And today, Randy's here to talk just about that, which is the circular economy, scrap metal recycling. Come on up.
First time I'm using one of these things, and I'm usually talking with my hands, and I don't want to hit the microphone there, so bear with me as I try that. Thank you very much. Thank you to Ben and RCBC for allowing me to speak about the circular economy. For those who know me, I'll step away from that. I see a lot of familiar faces in here. Those are here as well. They're helping me out and smiling at me while I talk. But with ABC Recycling, we're a privately owned business. And some may say the disadvantages of that is that we don't have trading offices all over the world. Some of our larger multinational competitors may have offices in Hong Kong or Singapore or Dubai or wherever it may be. As a private organization, we don't have that advantage. But what we do have is the ability to grow those markets ourselves. So for the past 3 to 4 years, I've had the luxury of traveling the world and seeing different places in India, in Hong Kong, in Europe, and next week going into Malaysia and Singapore to see what is truly going on at the ground level in these different countries, how are they processing the materials, what is going on from an environmental standpoint, and just making sure as a business we're doing our proper due diligence and being responsible to the people in the province that we collect material from, that we're leading it down the downstream to proper people in the marketplace. And the only way we can really do that is going to see those places. So really the objective of today is to tell you more about the scrap metal industry, how it really impacts the circular economy, and just everything a bit about that. So with that, let's get going here. Okay, from a content standpoint, we're going to talk about industry, a brief overview of the players in the industry, briefly talk about some metal types so you guys understand the differences between ferrous and non-ferrous metals, talk about the noise in the marketplace in our industry, because there is a tremendous amount, have a slide about material flow so you can really understand about the circular impact that we do have, who are the world players that really control what's happening with the prices in the marketplace. And I got a couple videos for you guys, which I was really figuring out this morning because they weren't working. Jazz did my marketing guy helped me out with that, and we got some videos to show you guys at the end of the presentation here. So, from an industry standpoint, ABC is a privately owned yard. We have 9 locations in Western Canada. There's a lot of privately owned yards throughout North America, throughout the world, different sizes, different ownership levels. We have multinationals, we have major corporations like Nucor Steel, for example, which is very vertically integrated. They own scrap yards, they own trading offices, they own steel mills, so they have that entire vertical integration lined up. Governments, government agencies, a lot of people in this room, regional districts, municipalities, people like RCBC, etc. They're all players in this marketplace. Generators, people that produce scrap, again, regional districts, manufacturers. Consumers, people that we're selling to in the global marketplace, even domestically within Canada or within the United States. And our favorite, the peddlers. Those are the people that tend to bring a lot of material to us as scrap recyclers if we're not going and getting it ourselves. They're actually a big portion of business throughout the world. Metal types. A lot of you know this, some of you may not. It's just a bit of an educational piece. Ferrous metals are magnetic material containing iron that have very little resistance to corrosion, i.e. they rust. Right? That's when you see steel and rust when it gets some water on it, is because of the chemical compounds that make of it. Some examples of ferrous material, some alloy and carbon steel, cast and wrought iron, plate and structural, heavy melt steel, and for a lot of the regional districts out here, light gauge tin, or shreddable tin is the primary product that you guys are producing, and then some scrap metal products like yourselves. Non-ferrous, very resistant to corrosion. non-magnetic, copper, brass, aluminum, lead, stainless steel. Those are the major commodities that you find in the non-ferrous category. Both tremendous amount of volume in the marketplace all over the world. Each one has its own different characteristics and market forces that really make it a very volatile industry. So you're talking about biofuels before, the scrap metal industry is extremely volatile. Keeps it quite fun and dynamic, but it is very volatile. Noise. This slide is supposed to look messy and noisy because the industry is. Everything from tariffs, currency, environmental regulation, natural disasters, construction activity, interest rates, and then all the other commodities that kind of tie in and correlate to the scrap metal industry: oil, iron ore, pig iron, coal. They all have an impact to the pricing in our marketplace, and then therefore the pricing that we can give to people that are actually producing the scrap. Logistics is massive in our industry. What's happening with ocean containers, what's happening with rail lines, what's happening with trucking lines and capabilities, electronic blocking devices on trucks, really impacted our industry with truck drivers and how they can actually properly drive within their limits, and regulating that has a major impact. It increases costs. So logistics is a major, major factor in our business. People don't understand the impact of that. It really determines which markets we're going to go to at times. If I have comparable markets in Chicago or in Taiwan, it's my logistics, my capability to fill a container or fill a rail car at an economic rate and get it to my consumer as fast as possible. It changes every single month for us. So again, that can be fun, but it can be very noisy. The biggest noise is this guy. Favorite guy, Don. That nice hair. He's creating a lot of noise. A lot of noise. Specifically in our industry. People don't see that. Well, they see what he's doing, and he's been quiet recently. That's scary. But he's creating a lot of noise. And this whole Make America Great thing is true. That's what he is trying to do. And he's actually become quite successful at doing that. And I don't think we've really seen the impact yet of what he wants to do to make America great again. We've seen what he's done to insulate the American economy via tariffs to protect the American industries. We've seen aluminum smelters that were idled in 2015 because of the slump in commodity prices at that time starting up again. We've seen companies like U.S. Steel just announced that they're going to put $1 billion into their Pittsburgh steel mill that's been shut down. And they're doing that because the American economy is now insulated. It's preventing imports from Turkey or Taiwan, wherever else in the world that was typically going into the American marketplace. And therefore, letting Joe Blow, Mr. American producer, go on business. Well, he's done a pretty good job. And when we see an infrastructure bill come into the United States, you're going to even see that grow. The detriment to scrap metal recyclers is that the steel mills who are benefiting from this are jacking prices up. They're printing money left, right, and center. That's not correlating to scrap prices. So it's really giving a lot of control to domestic mills and able to dictate the price. And therefore, we're price takers. And that flows through down to the producers. When people start asking why are the prices down, well, I like to blame him. Because he's put those tariffs in and it's really created a lot of noise in the marketplace. So as long as he's around, we're going to continue to have a lot of noise. And I really don't see him going away anytime soon. Material flow. So this is a good little chart here that can be used for any major commodity, whether we're talking about steel or aluminum or copper. In this example, we're going to talk about steel because it says steel right there as well. It's a good circular flow of many things that happen in the steelmaking process. But we're going to use steel, we're going to use vehicles as an example. Over here on the left-hand side, you see raw material extraction. Earlier I talked about commodities like iron ore and coal and pig iron. Those are all steel-making raw ingredients. One of the other major steel-making raw ingredients is scrap metal. The difference in whether a mill is going to use more of those commodities that they're extracting from the ground, like iron ore or scrap, is the type of steel mill. If it's a blast furnace, it's going to use more of those commodities that are coming out of the ground. If it's an electric arc furnace, it's going to use more scrap. Different technologies. I'm not going to dive into it, but that's why you see that there's the scrap collection there, and you see the raw materials coming in to the steel mill. But if we're a steel mill, we're making plate or making coils, we're sending that to General Motors in Detroit. And we're sending this material to them so that they can go and make their vehicles. They're stamping, they're punching, they're byproducts that are coming out of the manufacturing process. It's usually generating a product that they call busheling or prime grade material. And that's what we call pre-consumer scrap, because through the manufacturing process, they're generating scrap. And that scrap is directly going back to the mill. A lot of cases they may have scrap in a recycler, ourselves or somebody else in that region handle the logistics and handle the sortation and just the handling of the material to go back, and then we would take it to the steel mill. And so that's your first form of scrap that gets generated pre-consumer. Once that car is made, that car comes into the marketplace. And that's when we talk about the reuse and remanufacturing. That car can have a lifespan anywhere from 5 to 50 years. Depends really where in the world that car is going to be. The car's got an end of life here, it can either get scrapped or it might get shipped to Africa. So one time it's going to have a 20-year lifespan over there. So that varies. But once that end of life occurs, then it really comes to the scrap metal guys. And through different means, processing, we deglue vehicles, take the memory switches, drain all the fluids, etc., take the cat motors and batteries out, be responsible in how we're handling that material. We end up sending it back to a steel mill. And that whole process starts over again. And there's many countless different examples of items that go through this whole flow. And we can talk about aluminum, we can talk about copper again, we can talk about TVs, we can talk about dishwashers, we can talk about anything that you may touch. And it goes through this cycle. There may be differences in that cycle where you may not have that and scrap recycles ready for front end. It changes, it's dynamic. But that really kind of shows you how that flow goes back and forth. Right? Everything that you see typically gets recycled from the metal end. World players. So here's a map of the world. There's 4 major players that I've identified in this chart here of who's really driving the forces of metal prices in the marketplace. From the ferrous end, you have the United States of America. They're the largest producer of scrap in the world. They also have the best scrap in the world as well too. It's good. People like it. It's heavy from a steel perspective. It's clean. Lots of volume. Their biggest consumer is Turkey, for the most part. Turkey typically drives, or is the leading indicator of what's happening with ferrous prices in the world. Okay? Turkey's very volatile, especially today. They have, religious stuff like Ramadan going on right now. They have elections that they have, and then the people vote, and then they don't like it, so they do it again. They have a depreciating currency that is getting hammered by the US dollar. All those factors are preventing Turkey from buying scrap at good prices right now from North America. And when that happens, then all these players, specifically on the East Coast, that are large players and large producers because of just pure population on the Northeast seaboard, tend to ship that product not to Turkey, but they ship it back to the United States. So players like us on the West Coast who kind of want to ensure that these guys are shipping to Turkey, keeping the domestic place at a competitive level, get hurt. When those players flood the marketplace back, oversupply the marketplace, demand goes down, price goes down. And that's what we're experiencing today as we speak. From the non-ferrous end, you have India and you have China. And I have 6 minutes left, so I can spend an hour talking about China and what's going on. I've had the luxury of going over there and talking to the people and seeing what's going on over there. They're just like the States, fighting with each other to be the world economic power. And a lot of the changes that they've been doing from an environmental standpoint to cut off the flow of materials that they've been accepting for the last 25 years is really to insulate themselves and make their economy thrive at a higher level than they had before. They want made in China to have some quality behind it. They want to go high tech. They want to be made in China, high volume, low quality. They want to become like Japan. So a lot of the stuff they're doing from an environmental standpoint, a regulatory standpoint, pricing, I think is getting towards that. Picking up all the stuff that's left behind in India, becoming a very dominant force from a non-ferrous end. A lot of complications in dealing with India, though, from an infrastructure standpoint, trust of who you're dealing with over there, logistics, just the geography. Had the pleasure of going there as well, and It's a night and day difference between the two. You know, India is like China 20 years ago. A lot of people say, you know, what's the next China? I say there'll never be another China. We'll never see what they did over the last 25 years. There's no other country that has that type of communist government that can pour money into government-owned businesses to just drive the economy up. India doesn't have that. They don't have that luxury. So I don't think they'll ever be able to come to that place that China has. But we'll see. What's happening in the world is, everybody knows from a plastic standpoint, China said no. The plastic went to Thailand said no. Plastic went to Malaysia said no. A lot of product that we produce and sell is what we call insulated copper wire. So any sort of insulated wire that you see. China was a major consumer of that product for many, many years. With the plastics and the contamination that came with that, they decided to shut their doors to ICW last year. So imagine 300 to 400 of these type of chopping lines in China having to lift up and go to other places. So some of the places they've gone to, like Hong Kong, they've gone to Malaysia, and those places have taken in all that wire and said, okay, we can do that. As of this morning, I just heard Malaysia shut their doors to ICW. So anybody who's got container loads, and Jack talked about that earlier, of ICW on the water, you're in trouble. I'm going to Malaysia on Tuesday, so I get to see what's really happening. But you're seeing as China shifted their model away to other places in the world, those places are taking that material, 6 months later they're saying, we don't want this material. So a couple guys I was having lunch with, I said, there's one continent in the world, and that's Africa. And I'm really curious to see what happens in the next 10, 15 years. Because what they've been doing from investment with the Belt and Road Initiative leads me to believe that they're going to dump all the waste of this great continent there. So that's yet to be seen, that's just my crazy thought. But that is tending to see where the world's garbage might end up. Video time. Here's a video of the scrap processing yard in India. And great PPE, as you can tell. They're just having a good old day there. I do not want to walk through that yard. I was scared. I thought a piece of shrapnel or something. Nobody's wearing glasses, they're hanging out in tank tops and flip-flops, and they're breaking apart engine blocks with the chisel and hammer. I was shocked, absolutely shocked. And that's the loading bay right there. That's where they receive containers. Right there. 20-foot containers, right in there. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. But that's what's going on in India today. So that's what was going on in China about 15, 20 years ago. So there's a lot of development that still has to happen in India. People say it's the next great country. It's true. There's a lot of catching up they have to do. Hong Kong. This is a wire chopping line. So we're talking about ICW, insulated copper wire. What happens is that material goes to a chopping line, it gets chopped and segregated, and a pure copper product comes out. So this is just a little video of an operation in Hong Kong. It used to be in China, but they moved to Hong Kong to be able to continue doing business. Producing a product at 1/10 the cost of a company in New York who probably spent $7 million on the same line. It's amazing what is happening over there. The last video is what's happening over here. We actually did this project last year in Whistler, taking down one of the ski lift lines. And, you know, we just we like to use equipment. So we have fun taking videos like that. It's pretty cool stuff. We get to get equipment out on people's sites and show videos of what we do. So, you know, 3 different examples, 3 different commodities. This is steel. You saw something in India. You saw something in Hong Kong. Hopefully, through all that, I was able to achieve my objective and give you guys an example of how metal recycling really does impact the circular flow of goods. And Kelly is recycling. If you have any questions, please contact me. If you want to see any videos, I'll see you later.